UFOs in the Bible, Enoch, Elijah, and other figures taken by Yahweh in chariots of fire. We know even the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel was taken up, and he kept on seeing the planet Earth getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Enoch, Elijah, Baruch, Philip, and Ezra are some of the many biblical characters who were taken to the heavens by mysterious whirlwinds and chariots of fire. Some never returned. Where did those marvelous flying devices come from? Elijah never returned. That whirlwind took him away forever before the eyes of 50 prophets and Elisha himself, his disciple, the same one who later, equipped with Elijah's torn garments and mantle fallen from heaven, hit the waters of the Jordan, which were opened in two. For the exegesis, the explanations of the church, Elijah suffered an ecstatic transport. That is, the prophet entered a mystical trance and imagined the rapture. The truth, however, is that Elijah was no longer seen. And everything indicates that this episode really occurred, apparently on Mount Carmel, approximately 2,850 years ago, although biblical commentators deny it. The mysterious disappearance, they say, must be explained according to the literary genre of this cycle of stories about the great prophet. The church therefore considers the episode, as well as many other similar ones, science fiction, but their reality may be different. Another raptured and enigmatic character, if there ever was one, is Enoch, whose name in Hebrew means initiated. According to Genesis, Enoch did not die, but was caught up and taken to heaven in a chariot of fire. Little else is said about him in the Bible, but we have a surprising apocrypha, the Book of Enoch, which recounts the travels of the mysterious character aboard those chariots of fire. In that text, it's narrated, for example, how he came into contact with mysterious celestial beings. Quote, "Two men of great stature appeared to me. Their faces shone like the sun, and their eyes were like torches. And they said to him, 'Today you'll be with us in heaven.'" The story of this heavenly travels is surprising. "And then they lead me," he said, "to the heavens. I entered until I stopped in front of a wall, which seemed to be made of glass ashlars and was surrounded by tongues of fire. I saw myself before a large palace of carved crystal, with a floor tiled with glass plates, and the floor was also made of glass." He still adds other strange clues about his journey. He says, "After those days spent in a place where I was allowed to see what is hidden, after having been carried away by a whirlpool and driven towards the west," end quote. After the last of those journeys, quote unquote, Enoch did not return. Like Elijah, he was caught up forever. Only they were not the only ones. In another apocryphal called The Ascension of Isaiah, it's told how this prophet also ascended to the heavens in a suspicious trance, accompanied by several angels who invited him to dress in their clothes, and how on board that ship, quote unquote, he visited the seven heavens. And also in the second book of Baruch, something similar is told. "A force," it can be read, "lifted me up and placed me on the wall of Jerusalem." Another rapture is narrated in the Acts of the Apostle, that of Philip, one of the fathers of the church. From verse 27 of chapter 8 we can read, "The angel of the Lord spoke to Philip, saying, 'Get up and walk along the road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza.' He got up and left, and behold, an Ethiopian eunuch was returning, sitting in his chariot, reading the prophet Isaiah. Later, both stopped to drink water, a moment that Philip took advantage of to baptize the eunuch. But coming out of the water, the Spirit of the Lord caught Philip away, and the eunuch saw him no more. Philip found himself in Azotus and evangelized all the cities until he reached Caesarea. And it was that Spirit of the Lord, quote unquote, that snatched the apostle and transported him 40 kilometers. What was it? Another literary fantasy? a new metaphor? Aren't these descriptions too similar to those currently reported by UFO abduction witnesses? The truth is that those whirlwinds, chariots of fire, or flying wheels appear many times throughout the Bible and other apocryphal texts. They perform strange maneuvers. They are inhibited by angels of great stature. They are inhabited by angels of great stature, luminous with strange faces. For some, there are too many coincidences. Prestigious researchers on the subject are clear. They are extraterrestrial ships. But there is even more. These mysterious objects and their enigmatic capturing function were already known to Jesus. Thus, in the apocryphal history of Joseph the carpenter, we can read in the mouth of Jesus the following expression: "And what prevents me now from praying that my Father send a great luminous chariot to lift up Joseph, and that I transfer him to the place of rest, so that he may live there with my incorporeal angels?" In any case, it is not even necessary to delve into the Apocrypha, because in the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 17, 1-13, there, where the strange episode of the Transfiguration is narrated, it's said that Jesus, his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light, and there two beings appeared, and moments later, a shining cloud covered them. When he opened his eyes, everything returned to absolute normality. The most curious thing is that those two luminous beings were identified as Elijah, taken away forever, and Moses, whose body, after having maintained open contact with mysterious beings that traveled in strange clouds, was never found. Ezekiel gives the key. They were UFOs. In the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel had his first of his visions back in the year 600 BC. 4 of them are recounted in the book that bears his name, the book of Ezekiel. He's another snatched away, although with a return ticket. Of the first encounter, Ezekiel offers exceptional details. He says, "I saw a hurricane wind coming, a dense cloud around which shone a whirlwind of fire, which in the middle shone like burning bronze." Later he speaks of living creatures, of prominent crystals behind which the firmament is observed, of wheels that turn and resting on the ground. In short, for many scholars, those beings with faces like a bull, eagle, or lion were nothing more than astronauts with diving suits, oxygen intakes, or antennas, and then the imagination of those people did the rest. And this is on Infinity Explorers by Anshri Vastava. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.